Hi, Assalamu alaikum, and very good day to you all are watching this video now. Many of you has requested me to upload a video on how and what to write in the contribution of the study section. We have to remember and understand that PhD is an academic study. Therefore, at the end of our research, we must have some kind of contributions that we make to the area of research. I remember that in one PhD Viva Voce session which I was chairing, I asked the student, can you please tell us why should he be given the PhD degree? And the student answered to me, Prof, I studied 8 to 10 hours per day and 5 years of struggle. So I said, because of that, you think you deserve the PhD degree? And he said, yes. Then I asked him back, what about a taxi driver who is driving taxi for 12 to 15 hours a day and 20 years of his life? Can we give him a PhD degree for taxi driving? He said, no. I said, why? So he doesn't have an answer for it. So I told him, you cannot be given a PhD degree because you enroll into a program, you studied for 5 years, and you spend 8 to 12 hours a day. There must be some kind of new knowledge contribution or methodological contribution or some kind of practical, managerial or contextual contribution should be there in your research. Remember, if you fail to proof or highlight any of these three kinds of contribution, you will fail to get a PhD degree. And also, please also remember that a PhD student will sweat during the session of final viva, answering the question of new knowledge contribution. So today, that's what I'm going to share with you with some example of good contribution of the study section from thesis. So remember also that when we conduct a research, we collect data from a small sample. The total population size could be millions, but our data come from 384 only, to a certain extent. But when you write a paper, we generalize on the big size population. And if it is a good research, the impact will be huge. For example, if you are conducting a research now on 100 COVID survived patients, and findings are very impactful to the society, that research is the kind of research that we would like to see. So any kind of research that you undertake, it is undertaken because of identified and defined research problem. So when we have identified and defined research problem before the research even takes off, then definitely when you have concluded the study, we would like to see some kind of solution. And those solution must be something new, something innovative, something creative. And that's where we contribute by conducting a research, spending 3 to 5 years in our PhD journey. So in an empirical research, these are the components we have. We start with research problem, then we translate them into research questions. At the end, we will have recommendations based on those. And before that, we'll need to highlight what kind of contributions are we making by conducting that research. Now, there are few potential areas of contribution. Number one, of course, the knowledge or theoretical gaps. When you conduct research, you identify certain areas of concern, some gaps in the literature or knowledge. So at the end of research, we're supposed to highlight and focus and to show the world that I have come out with something new kind of knowledge or theory. The second area, which is very important, industrial issues, practical or contextual issues, where we provide some kind of policy recommendations or solutions to the problem that the industry is facing now. That could be another potential area of contribution for my research. And number three, the methodological issues. When you conduct research, we adopt certain specific kind of methodology in the area of research that we undertake. And we do understand that the robustness of research is dependent on the kind of methodology that we adopt. So in a PhD degree, if you like to claim that title, you must have at least one or two from these 30 areas of contribution. Knowledge or theoretical gap is the most important one because PhD is an academic degree. And beside that, if you have an industrial or methodological contribution, it's a plus point for you. If you fail to contribute in terms of knowledge or theory, then if you have a new methodology being proposed and some industrial or practical contribution, that could be even adequate for you to get a PhD degree. Let me show you in detail how can you make contribution in those three areas. The first one, knowledge or theoretical contributions. I'm going to show you many dimensions whereby you can contribute to new knowledge or theory. Number one, you may test the effectiveness of a theory. A theory has been proposed based on assumptions being tested to some other countries, not tested in your country. You can test it in your country and prove whether it is effective or not. Or theory has been used in certain industry, and you can test it in a different industry where the theory has not been tested, and you prove the effectiveness of it. That could be a good potential new knowledge contribution. Number two, you may nullify a theory. There are established theories which can be nullified. For example, like in economics, there's a theory, we call it one price theory, which advocates that price of a commodity should be the same given a time at different places. But in one of my research, I have proved that this theory is not applicable in the context of Bangladesh stock market, whereby in Bangladesh has two stock exchanges and many stocks are traded at the same time in both stock exchanges. So the price of those stocks found to be different at the same time in the two different stock markets. So I have concluded that one price theory is not applicable in a dual listed stock situation. So you may nullify a theory. You may modify a theory. The theory is there, has been tested as effective, and then some modification is required due to changing of the society, changing of industry needs and all that. You may reduce the number of variables or factors. You may introduce a new moderating, mediating variable, whereby you can modify a theory. You may extend a theory if you can prove that those factors in the theory or variables in the theory are not adequate, and you add on one or two new factors in a model, and then you extend the theory. That could be great contribution to new knowledge. Or even you can integrate theories. Certain cases, one theory is not enough for you to conclude or conduct a research and conclude on a problem that you have in hand. So in that case, you may have more than one theory. You may have 2 or 3 theories. You integrate them and propose a new framework to conduct a research in that area. That could be another good contribution. You may conclude that previous researchers use only one theory. However, in my research, I have integrated few theories, come out with a new framework, and found out good solutions to the research problem identified. In that case, the dominating theory would be the underpinning theories, and other theories would be the supporting theories. You may even validate a theory, and you may even verify a theory. So these are the 7 areas which are potential areas for you to contribute in terms of knowledge or theory. The second one is a methodological contribution. As I said earlier, the robustness of your study is dependent much on methodology that we have adopted. You can contribute in terms of methodology by proposing a new methodology. For example, one of my students has conducted a study using content analysis. In that area of research, no one has adopted content analysis. So it was a good contribution from him by proving that content analysis can be useful to conduct a study in that identified research area. You may test a proposed methodology in a new context. Say, for example, a methodology has been adopted in the industry, manufacturing industry, and you would like to test that in the service industry. If you can prove that methodology is effective as well in the service industry, then you are contributing a new knowledge. So methodological contribution is there. You can even integrate methodologies. Basically, researchers, we are divided into 2, quantitative and qualitative. You may often hear an academic claiming he is basically a quantitative person or qualitative person. But there are limitations in both methods. Therefore, in certain research, it is actually warranted that you do integrate. Your study concluded by quantitative methods, and yet you have additional qualitative data to validate what you have found out from qualitative study could be a good contribution. And if you find that previous researchers either use only qualitative or quantitative, but in your study, you have mitigated both approach, that could be also a contribution in the area of research. You may develop new instruments, a questionnaire that has been adopted or adapted, and you found that those questionnaires are not suitable in your premise of research, in your context of research, then you may design your own instrument to conduct the study. It could be in survey, could be for intense interview, could be focus group. Instruments are developed by you. But of course, we have to remember there are certain procedures to validate self-instructed questionnaire, which will be subject for discussion in my next videos. You may also validate instrument in a new context. Say, for example, the instrument has been used in another country, but has not been used in your country, would be validated. Or an instrument has been used in an industry, can be validated in another industry. So these are 5 areas where potential contributions could be there in terms of methodology. And the third one is very important now, industrial, practical or contextual contribution. Industry people do criticize PhD by saying PhD is merely an academic degree. It does not have any relevance to the industry. And therefore, we as academics started highlighting on this factor, telling students that you must have some kind of specific implications on industry, or industrial practice, or context of research. There are many ways of contributing into that. If you provide new solutions or solutions to new issues arise, for example, now with COVID-19, there are many issues arise in the industry, in the society, in the nation, and in the world at large. And if you provide some kind of solution by doing research, that could be a good contribution. That may warrant you to have a PhD degree. Also, you may adapt policies from other industry. Certain policies are used in other country or other industry, can be recommended through research that can be used to other industries. Changing mindsets is very important. Things are changing too fast and so much that we have difficulty coping with the changes. So the mindset got to be changed. So we conducted research and propose certain solutions to change the mindsets of people. That could be good contribution in terms of industry or the practice. And if you find that solutions were there for a certain problem, and that problem reoccur, so through your research, you provide some kind of new solutions to the reoccurring problem. That could be also a good contribution. So these are the 4 areas that definitely there could be a few more other areas where you can contribute. So you have to remember that there should be contributions from new knowledge or theory, methodology, or could be from industrial, practical, or contextual. This is another way of explaining how can you make conceptual contribution. We may improve conceptual definitions from the original construct. We may even identify and define the concept of an additional construct to be added to a framework. It could be additional dependent variable, could be additional independent mediating or moderating variable. The development of additional theoretical linkages with accompanying rationale. So you have additional variable or factors identified with new hypotheses being proposed and tested. We may have even development of improved theoretical rationale for existing linkages. Empirical contribution could be also testing a theoretical linkage between 2 constructs that has not previously been tested. We may examine the effect of potential moderative variable on the nature of the relationship between 2 constructs. We may determine the degree to which a variable mediates the relationship between 2 constructs. Or even we may investigate the psychometric properties of an important scale. Methodological, as I have explained before, we may reduce the potential problem with the shared method variance. We may increase the generalizability of research through more appropriate sampling procedures. We may allow the investigation of plausibility of third variable explanations, or you may enhance the construct validity. Let me show you a few examples of good contribution. This one I really liked. This is the student is showing empirical or theoretical implications. He's claiming his study is interdisciplinary study. Financial management discipline is integrated. He is providing enterprise value as an alternative measurement of firm value. He has validated the prospect theory, and he has closes the contextual literature gap. And then he has practical or managerial contribution very much highlighted. As we see now, he has claimed that he has aligned and integrated innovative capacity with the risk management policies. And he is advocating that investing in innovation through considerable investment and research and development will help reducing the risks. And he is proposing to foster management of credit-related risks. And third one, he has a specific policy recommendations for different stakeholders. So if you see the slide, the student has successfully highlighted his contribution to the field of knowledge in terms of theory, in terms of practical, contextual, and industrial issues. This student doesn't have any specific methodological contribution, so he did not highlight that. Let us look at the second example. This student has claimed that she has validated the theorem, which is Miller-Modigliani theorem. She has claimed that she had tested 3 corporate financial decisions together. She claimed that previous researchers tested 3 different decisions differently, but she has integrated it. She has explained a few theories in her research, like trade-off theory, agency theory, free cash flow theory, signaling theory, bird in the hand theory. So these are the finest theories she has tested in her research. She's Tobin Q to measure firm value, which is market-based. She's claiming that she has had to limited research on corporate investment. She has added new variable, debt maturity, as well as dividend to total assets in a model. Clearly identified. Anyone see it can clearly understand the theoretical contribution in this slide. And she does have some policy implications, contributions, which she has put in a draft for corporate managers, for public lawmakers, for investors, as well for researchers. This is another example of implication of the study, in another way, contribution of the study. From theoretical perspective, this student has claimed that her study extended the applicability and predictive power in institutional theory, agency theory, and signaling theory. And she claimed that she has applied institutional theory that has revealed how industry sector, country of origin can moderate a relationship. In terms of practical perspective, she has provided certain policy recommendations for business and government organizations. In terms of methodology, she claimed that the use of all possible sources of CSER information significantly increases the data comparability and consistency. She has considered visual counts first time in her research. She's a new methodological contribution. She has combined the social and environmental index in her research. And she used unweighted scoring approach. So she has very much focused and highlighted methodological contribution from her research. And she does also have empirical perspective contribution, answering the call for moderating view of industrial sector and country of origin, which is new. She has tested in her research. And she has 3 conceptually distinct but interrelated concepts being integrated together. So looking at this slide also, we can easily identify the students' theoretical, methodological, and practical contribution. And these entitles her to receive a PhD degree. I hope that these slides are very useful, and you can write your contribution of the study section in your last chapter effectively. And also the slides that I've shown you would be helpful for you to prepare the slides for implication of the study or contribution of the study section. Thank you very much.